Ethan Hale had never imagined that life would corner him this brutally, balancing single fatherhood and a job that drained the soul out of him every passing day. His wife had died 3 years earlier, leaving him alone with a 5-year-old boy who asked too many questions and needed too many hugs, and though Ethan tried his best to keep everything from falling apart, bills kept coming like a storm that didn't know how to stop. When he finally landed a job as an assistant driver and grounds worker at the prestigious Weston Estates, he'd thought life had given him a small blessing, but he didn't yet know the truth about the owner, billionaire CEO Aria Weston. Aria was brilliant, ruthless, feared, and impossibly demanding, the sort of woman who walked through rooms with the cold confidence of someone who had conquered the world but lost too much to smile. Ethan worked day and night under her strict instructions, repairing fences, delivering documents, fixing lighting for grand events she hosted, and sometimes even driving her to late-night meetings because all her other employees quit after facing her impossible expectations. Yet Ethan stayed, not because he admired her, but because he had a small boy to feed and a promise to his late wife that he would never abandon their child's future. Aria thought Ethan was like all the others, someone she could squeeze dry, someone who would leave as soon as the pressure grew too much, and she pushed him for weeks, extra hours, last-minute orders, unreasonable tasks. But Ethan never complained. He smiled tiredly, nodded, and did the work. At first Aria felt nothing but mild irritation toward him, his calmness almost annoyed her. But slowly, she noticed something she had never seen before, a man who worked not for ambition, but for love. She overheard him talking softly to his boy on the phone during lunch break, promising he'd be home early, even though he knew he wouldn't. She found him asleep once on a bench near her office at 3 a.m. after completing a task she hadn't even remembered assigning. She noticed the exhaustion on his face, the gentle kindness in his voice, the silent strength he carried without boasting. He reminded her of the kind of people she had forgotten existed, people who fought quiet battles every day. But Ethan didn't know his hard work was being watched, nor that his loyalty was beginning to soften the coldest heart in the city. One evening, when rain poured endlessly and the estate glittered with storm reflections, Aria saw Ethan trying to fix a fallen security light, his clothes soaked, hands shivering. She could have ordered someone else, but she didn't. She watched him, her chest tightening for reasons she refused to understand. But pride kept her silent, cold, and distant. After weeks of pushing him beyond limits, it wasn't guilt but something deeper, a strange pull, that forced her to rethink everything she believed about loyalty, kindness, and sacrifice. And then the breaking point arrived, when Ethan received a call that his son had a high fever, but Aria still demanded he finish the night's work. He looked at her with eyes that held both exhaustion and sadness, and for the first time, she felt something crack inside her. He rushed home, leaving Aria standing alone in the rain, haunted by a feeling she couldn't name. Hours later, unable to shake the memory of his trembling voice or the look in his eyes, she shocked herself, by stepping into her car, driving through the night, and stopping outside his small, dimly lit home at exactly midnight. As she stood at his doorstep, the storm still raging behind her, she realized she wasn't here as a billionaire, or a boss, or a woman of steel. She was here because something inside her had changed. And Ethan, unaware of the figure standing outside his door, was holding his sick son close, wishing someone, anyone, would give him a little break from the world. And before the chapter closes, the narrator says, "If you want to know what happens when a cold billionaire's heart melts for the first time, stay with us, and don't forget to subscribe." Midnight at the door. Aria Weston stood frozen at Ethan's doorstep, unable to knock, unsure why her perfectly controlled world had driven her straight into the night toward the one person she had tried so hard to keep at a professional distance. Ethan opened the door at that moment, his eyes tired, hair messy, shirt stained from trying to cool his burning child. He didn't expect to see anyone, especially not her. Shock flickered in his expression, and guilt flooded hers. "Your son. I wanted to check if he's okay," she whispered, her voice sounding unfamiliar even to herself. Ethan stepped aside silently, too exhausted to question the strange moment. Aria saw the boy lying on the old couch, wrapped in a thin blanket, cheeks flushed, breathing heavy. Something inside Arya twisted sharply. She gently approached, kneeling beside him in a way that shocked Ethan to his core. "He needs medicine and rest," Arya murmured, "and someone to take care of him." Ethan exhaled shakily. "I'm doing my best." His voice cracked in a way that shattered the last of Arya's steel armor. That night changed everything. Arya made calls, arranged a doctor, brought groceries, and even stayed to help. Ethan kept watching her, this woman who barked orders daily, now silently placing wet cloths on his son's forehead. Hours passed. The storm softened. In the quiet of the night, Arya confessed what she had never told anyone: "I push people because life taught me that the moment you soften, everything falls apart." Ethan listened, and for the first time, someone didn't judge her. Instead, he said, "Strength isn't about staying cold. It's about caring, even when it hurts." That simple sentence broke open something inside her. Over the next days, Arya reduced Ethan's workload, arranged better pay, and ensured he got time to care for his son. But something deeper blossomed between them: small moments, warm glances, shared silence that felt more intimate than words. Ethan's son grew fond of her, calling her Auntie Arya with joy that melted every frozen piece of her past. One evening, long after the crisis had passed, Arya stood outside Ethan's home again, not out of guilt, but because she wanted to be there. Ethan opened the door and smiled softly. "You're early tonight." She stepped closer, almost shy. "I wanted to see you both." His son ran into her arms, and Ethan watched the scene with a heart that finally felt warm after years of emptiness. Arya turned to Ethan, eyes gentle in a way no one in the business world had ever seen. "You once said strength is caring even when it hurts," she whispered. "I want to learn that. With you." Ethan didn't answer with words, he simply took her hand, pulling her inside. No boundaries, no fear. From that day, life didn't magically become perfect, but it became real, soft, warm, and full of hope, something they both thought they'd lost. The billionaire who once overworked him became the woman who helped him heal, and Ethan, the single father who fought life alone, became the reason she started living again. And as the story ends, the narrator reminds viewers gently: if you felt the emotion in this story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps bring more powerful stories to life.